Hey, so time to cook the pizzas now, and of course, you've read the user guide? No? Okay, we know 90% of people won't read the user guide because they never do, but you're in the right place here to go through the process of great balls of flour pizza kit and taking it from a great ball of flour and turning it into a fantastic tasting pizza in very easy steps. We've also got our very capable helper here, Vincenzo, who is fabulous. He is going to help us prove how easy it is to make this and what great fun it is actually just to get all of your family, your kids, anyone involved with it. It's also great for a date night. We're going to run this as two separate videos. This will be a short version. There'll be an extended director's cut version which will show you the entire process as we pop it in the oven to cook, which is on, and just show you the entire timing of the process. It really is dead easy to get this done in under 15 minutes or thereabouts. So the oven, first of all, we put it on. We've set it to its maximum temperature so it really does get the heat going. We've also got a little pizza tray in there. If you don't have a pizza tray, that's fine. Take your box standard oven dish out, turn it over, let that heat up, that's where you place it on. You're going to have your parchment paper, cooking paper on there anyway, so you're not going to worry too much. We didn't need that, so now, without much further ado, I think it's time for Vincenzo to step up. Our latest junior piazza. Oh, one last thing, rolling pin. We got a lot of comments about rolling pins, and you don't need a rolling pin. Quite good for bashing it. Oh no, we don't do that, do we? We would never do that. But pop your rolling pin away. The reason for that is our dough, you've let it prove for 48 hours at least. You've taken it out, you've got it up to room temperature. And let me just show this as I take the lid off. When you touch it, it's so springy. There is so much air inside there. All a rolling pin does is just bash it out so you won't get that really nice crust. And this video will show you how to get that shape dead easy from it, so you do get that lovely crust on the edge. So over to Vincenzo. So what do you do, Vincenzo?
We need to open the A pack.
There we go. It's a bit tricky. I don't know, I never know which. There you go. You don't need to use all of this. Obviously, if you've got more than one pizza, you can just put half of it down and come back later on. You can add your own flour to it. This is a flour and semolina mix that we create. The semolina creates a really nice sort of texture on the base and also gives us that ability when we're putting it on the parchment paper just to almost ball bearing slide off at the end of it. Go on then, pop that on there for me. Keep going. Brilliant. Now rub it out. Fantastic. You're going well? Fantastic. Okay, now step aside, young man. It's over to me. Now I've got a bowl of cold water here, and just in case the dough, which is going to be a bit sticky, the cold water obviously just helps, adds a bit of a lubricant to it without spoiling the dough. So take your dough ball and just gently ease your way around the outside of it, so it becomes a bit loose, and then it'll get to a point where you just want it to flop into the middle of your semolina flour mix. You're finished with that, recycle it, use it for a kid's lunch pack up when they eventually go back to school. This has obviously been recorded in UK school lockdown times. So take that, you've got one side done and covered in the semolina. You've got next. Then working just from the centre initially, just press down. Try and keep the edges as clear as you can, because that's where you see how even just now, as I turn it, I am creating a crust edge. And then once we've done that a couple of times, so we're not doing too much, pick it up, almost create like a loose fist. My hand underneath is looking like a hook. So you're creating that, and then just take your other hand and just pull it. And that's how you do it. So that's how you actually create the stretch. And you can see, because it's warm and because it's been left to rest, it's not resisting me. It's just stretching out really, really nicely. You can see now why the rolling pin is just not necessary. And there you go. Pop it back down just so we've got a bit of extra. Turn it over, do the same. Now if you're really jazzy, And my kids always laugh at this because sometimes I don't catch it. You can flip it if you wanted to. Just gives a bit of extra stretch. You can also hang it off the edge of your counter and use it that way because you get gravity to create it. I personally find this is the best way to do it. And you can see I'm literally now, because it's stretched out, this hand is now just straight. So you're just rolling it. Literally just turning it round and round like a wheel. And there you go, I've not got too far. My fingers are always inside the inner edge. And there we are. So now, what I want to do, take your parchment paper, sprinkle a bit of the semolina flour mix over the top of it. Like I said, that's for that lubricant. I'm going to pick up my trusty assistant here, use it like that, spread it over. And then I'm going to place, this will just make it a lot easier to get in and out of the oven. There you go, I'm just going to stretch it. I want it a bit bigger. I like my pizza, so I want it a bit bigger there. Right, there we go. And there we have it. And next, you take your tomato sauce, which is going to be labelled C. And I'm just going to tip that over here. I've just realised I've left the onions in the package. We need onions on this. So while I go and get onions from the fridge, would you mind? Step up, young sir, step up. There you go. Give that stir for me. How are we getting on?
Good.
Excellent. There you go, it doesn't matter. It's a pizza, it doesn't have to be perfect. Let me just rub that out a little bit. You can also just stretch out the edges with the spoon, which will create, you see, you've got that edge now coming. Brilliant. Take your package, it'll be labelled D. Depends on which pizza you've got. There's a few items that are labelled D, so if you've got a fruity della terra, your mushrooms and your onions will be. Shall I sprinkle? You got a sprinkle. Now, of course, one thing we didn't mention at the start, but we both had done, clean your hands. Please wash your hands. It's important at any time, it's especially important during a pandemic, but it is really important to just wash your hands. You'll find that actually having clean hands just helps with the actual pizza and the whole pizza base. This is also a great way with the kids, you can disguise it. Sure, some of them are going to come back and go, yeah, I don't like onions. But if you disguise it underneath the pizza base, the cheese, you're fine. Okay, next, package labelled E, which has got cheese in it. So I'm just going to pop the cheese on the side there for Vin to be able to pop in. On there. Try that, onion. I love the taste of sweet red onion, really good. At the stage that we put the onions on, if you want to pimp up your pizza yourself, maybe you like anchovies, maybe you like capers, maybe there's a few little extra touches, maybe even just sweet red peppers, yellow peppers, which we put on pizzas ourselves when I'm making them at home with the kids at the weekend. That's your best stage to put them on because they'll go underneath that layer of the cheese. The cheese kind of adds a bit of a protection so they don't get burnt, but also the heat from the cheese as it's melting helps cook them. And then finally take your package label F, which is your pepperoni. Take that, go on, pop that on. Now Vin here has a sister, and you can imagine it gets a little bit competitive sometimes, or whose half is whose and so on and so forth. So they always have these exact measures, and it's almost like a line down the middle where there's 6 pieces, because we always send out 12 pieces of pepperoni, and it's always like it says, this is my half, and it's like, you just know then, when we put it in the oven, we have to get it out in a certain way so that we know whose side is whose. Yeah, there you go. If you haven't got any kids, you won't know what I'm rabbiting on about. That is perfect. Now, my little secret weapon for the kitchen, you don't need one, but a pizza paddle. I'm going to take that. If you haven't got a pizza paddle, again, if you can use like the back of a tray or something, you just want to slide it quickly. So you pop it over, go straight over to the oven, we pop it in, that's it. Now I'm going to set a timer on my watch for 3 minutes. In 3 minutes time I'm going to turn it around and rotate it just so it gets a nice even cook on it. You'll see the way from it we've got the browning that comes up, which is pretty unique I think to our crust for a home oven. You will also carry on watching this if you want to. If not, we're going to cut this at this point and say bye-bye to you before we restitch it back on at the end with the finished pizza. But for now, we've got 6 minutes to have some fun. What are we going to do? Huh? I don't know. Let's go and do something.